High up in the Bolivian Andes, right near the shores of Lake Titicaca, you'll find the ruins of a city that, well, it just about defies any easy explanation. We're talking about a metropolis built with impossibly large stones and with mind-boggling precision by a civilization that completely vanished 1,000 years ago. So let's dive into the incredible secrets of Tiwanaku.
Our journey really has to start with its most famous monument, the Gate of the Sun. Now, this isn't just some doorway. It's a powerful statement. And get this, it was carved from a single, massive block of volcanic rock. But believe it or not, this is just one piece of a much, much larger and heavier puzzle.
Take a look at this number, 131. That's how many metric tons a single stone block at Tiwanaku weighs. To put that in perspective, that's like stacking about 100 cars on top of each other. Just think about that for a second.
And that brings us to the absolute heart of the mystery, doesn't it? I mean, with no draft animals, without the wheel, and without a single written word we can find to guide them, how in the world did the people of Tiwanaku build this city? And for that matter, who even were they? So, to even begin to unravel the enigma of how Tiwanaku was built, we first have to get a handle on the people behind it.
So who exactly were the Tiwanaku? Well, they were a major pre-Columbian civilization, one of the most important empires in the Andes, actually, and they rose to power long before the famous Inca.
You'll find the site in what is now western Bolivia, sitting at a breathtaking 12,500 feet above sea level. And at its peak, around 800 AD, this was no small settlement. It was a huge urban center, home to as many as 20,000 people, one of the largest cities in all of South America at the time.
You know, what's really fascinating is how our understanding of Tiwanaku's age has completely changed over time. Early on, some estimates were just wild. One archaeologist claimed it was 17,000 years old. And other early dates were also found to be pretty unreliable. But today, after analyzing all the solid radiocarbon dates, the scientific consensus puts its founding around 110 AD, so not Ice Age old, but still an absolutely ancient and remarkable achievement.
All right, so let's get back to the how, because this wasn't just about brute force. This was clearly the work of master engineers.
Now, whenever you have stonework this precise from the ancient world, you know someone's going to say it. Ancient aliens. But the archaeological reality is actually way more impressive. The builders here had a deep, sophisticated knowledge of geometry and stone-cutting techniques that let them create these perfect interlocking blocks. Nope, no aliens needed, just incredible human ingenuity.
And yet, here's a real mind-bender. As archaeologists Pratzen and Nair point out, for all the precision, nobody has been able to find a standard unit of measurement. No Tiwanaku foot or Tiwanaku meter. It suggests they had this unique, almost organic system, building each piece to fit the next one perfectly, all without a universal ruler.
So how do you get thousands of people to build a city like this without any money? The answer seems to be a system called elite redistribution. Basically, the ruling class controlled everything, all the food, all the tools, all the materials, and in exchange for labor, they gave the workers whatever they needed to live and do their jobs. It was a totally different way of organizing an entire society, from the farmers all the way up to the master stonemason.
Okay, so that brings us from the how to the why. Because Tiwanaku wasn't just a city. It was meant to be a reflection of the entire cosmos, a universe built right there in stone.
Its location was everything. The original name in the local Aymara language actually means stone in the center, because they believed this spot was the literal center of the world. It was placed very deliberately between two sacred mountains, and right next to Lake Titicaca, which they saw as the spiritual birthplace of their entire universe.
And you can see this worldview carved directly onto the Gate of the Sun. If you look closely at these intricate carvings, you'll see a central figure with attendants on either side. Many scholars are pretty sure this represents the great Andean creator god, Viracocha, who, according to the myths, actually rose from Lake Titicaca to create the world.
And the major structures here? They weren't just buildings, they were cosmic clocks. The Akapana pyramid, for example, was aligned to a specific mountain peak so they could observe the rotation of the Milky Way. And the massive Kalasasaya courtyard was designed to perfectly track sunrises on the solstices and equinoxes. This entire city was a functioning astronomical observatory.
But you know, like all great empires, Tiwanaku's time eventually came to an end. So let's turn to its final chapter, its mysterious collapse, and everything that happened next.
For centuries, one of the biggest questions for archaeologists has been, what on earth happened around the year 1000 AD? Why was this magnificent city just suddenly abandoned?
Well, the answer probably isn't an invasion or some epic war. Instead, the leading scientific theory points to a natural disaster, a long and absolutely devastating drought. In an environment this high up, a total failure of their farming systems would have been catastrophic, and it very likely led to the entire society collapsing.
And after it fell, the city suffered 1,000 years of destruction. I mean, it was looted by other local groups, its stones were quarried by the Spanish to build churches, they were even used for railroad construction, and unbelievably, it was used for target practice by the military in more recent times. It's really no wonder that none of the buildings are fully intact today.
And this contrast is just stunning. On the left, you've got the original ruins of the Kalasaya Wall from the 19th century. Some people even called it an American Stonehenge. Then on the right, you have the modern reconstruction. And while it's an attempt to show its former grandeur, you can see it just lacks that incredible fine masonry of the original. It really shows you how hard it is to preserve a site that's been so heavily damaged.
But despite all that destruction, Tiwanaku's legacy somehow lived on. Its architectural styles and its art heavily influenced later civilizations, especially the Inca, who actually revered the site and copied many of its ideas into their own massive empire.
And some mysteries are still, quite literally, embedded in the walls. These haunting stone heads in the semi-subterranean temple are all carved in different styles. This might mean they represent different peoples, or maybe that the temple was used and added to over many, many generations.
In the end, the people of Tiwanaku left us no written history, just this monumental city of stone. Their architecture is their language. Their beliefs are carved into gateways, and their knowledge of the cosmos is built right into the foundations of the world they created. And that leaves us with one final haunting question. What other secrets are these stones still waiting to tell us?